Painting goo 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 goo. Painting goo 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 goo. Painting goo 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 goo. Oh, Jesus, I'm out of breath. Painting goo. Fuck yeah. It's painting goo. It's fucking goo. Painting me, painting you. It's painting goo. Get your chi throwing. It's time to goo goo. Oh, my spine. Painting goo 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 goo. Oh. Painting goo 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 goo. Painting goo 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 goo. Painting goo. Painting goo. It's painting goo. It's fucking goo. Painting me, painting you. Painting goo. Painting goo. That's it, my Rhoda monkey. My primitive piano-praying monkey. Remind these feeble mortals what beauty is. Painting goo. Goo, goo, goo. Painting goo. Sip, sip. Painting goo 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 goo. Painting goo goo goo. Sip rant goo. Ha! Oh, I love honey. Painting goo. Painting goo. Painting goo. Bring it home, Myro. Painting goo. Goo 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 goo. Do it for the filthy mortals, Myro. Bring it home. Remind them of honor and beauty. Painting goo. It's painting goo. A fucking painting goo. Goo goo goo. Do 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 do. So beautiful. Weep. Weep, you feeble mortals, and witness the beautiful glory of a piano-praying monkey staring you with the empty, dead eyes. What's this? No, not today. Not today, advertisement. Greetings and welcome, my beloved Japanites and all you other f***ing dogs, to another glorious episode of Paintingu with I, your glorious demigod host, Defenderu. Demigod of Paintingu. It's in the name. It's like fucking, what was that? Ron Seal does exactly what it says on the tin. Defenderu does exactly what it looks like he does. What does it look like? Look like a madman on the internet? Well, that's what it is. Ugh. Can't be fucking half Irish and half Jap and not have a sliver of, you know, potentially berserker-like madness in you. Which is why it's like this. Ah! Somebody has a for painting goo! Glorious! See? You filthy monkey? Your dead eyes have finally earned you some money. Somebody has placed a tip in the monkey's burrow. Perhaps today he shall not starve. What do the people have to say to PEINTEINGU? Myro the monkey. I love these ones. So, in a vain attempt to arouse some sort of deception of PEINTEINGU actually being, you know, supported financially to a successful degree where Myro actually gets regularly fed, he has tipped himself on PEINTEINGU. Myro the monkey has tipped his own boar. The shearing is boundless. Someone please buy me pants. The monkey needs some lower body wear. Someone please buy me pants. This has been uncomfortable for a while now. He's a monkey. He looks perfectly comfortable, although the piano does hide his greatest gripe. He is pantless. The monkey is pantless. But that's what I said. That's what I've been saying for weeks now. Since the female made Myro, I have been reminding all you feeble mortals that I do not feed the monkey, I do not clothe the monkey, I do not pay the monkey. The monkey is subjugated. I have subjugated the monkey. I frog the monkey when he does not play the piano. I beat him over the head with his empty bowl. Don't look at me like that, Myro. Look at him. He's sad now because I said it was empty. Look at him. Look at him weep from his dead, empty, grey eyes. I wish you could. I want to zoom in. I want a close up of like Myro's face. I want to be able to zoom right up on the fucking thing. Hold on, I'm gonna fuck with the settings for a sec and see if I can can I do that? Yeah, I probably could. I could totally zoom in on the dude's face. Oh man, this would be fucking. Oh, that'd be hard though. That's what she said. We'll just leave it like that. I'm not arsed fixing it. I want that though. I want that in my rife. I want that in my future PEINTEINGU rife. Where every time I click on the monkey cam, the fact that I actually have a fucking tab that just says monkey, and I click on it and it cuts to a monkey playing the piano. I mean, if you're not paying for PEINTEINGU, what the fuck are you doing? This shit's gold. It's good. I don't know why that makes me laugh so much. That if you say gold in Japu, it sounds like you're saying gourd. You know those things that people used to keep water in and shit. Isn't the healing gourd the fucking thing in Sekiro? It's like the fucking Estus flask. Sip sip. That's actually where I got sip sip from. I can't remember who it was particularly, but there's a streamer who was playing Dark Souls or Bloodborne, and every time they did a double sip of the health potion thing, he was always like, "Sip sip." I thought it was hilarious. So when I started drinking on the fucking on the PEINTEINGU streams, I was like, yeah, that fits. Right. Who's the most honourable this morning? Tuekaru. Tuekaru was the first one in, saying "wee" as he rides into PEINTEINGU. As he strides into position. Desmondru, second-do, with a woo and not a wee. He's much more masculine. Max Sudbaru, third-do, and a roar. Try saying lol in Japu. Roar. I want to see roars in the chats. Everybody give me a roar in the chat. Griffu, fourth-do, with a ree. Are you a regal? Are you a reager? Griffu? That was one of the funniest things I seen Jim Bob do before he went full postal. full poster was the Regal thing. He had some funny shit, you know, before he snapped. Third Reich, my favorite too. You Reich being third? It's a bit weird. It's a bit weird, Griff. You don't mind having not only sloppy seconds but sloppy twos. You don't mind being third. You're like you want to be third. You want to be the third one there, the bronze. Oh, is it because bronze kind of reminds you of copper, and you're a former meth head? Is that the connection? I mean, you are a truck driver who drives with the dog, and you have an epic beard, but you're also balding and you're white. So you could totally do the former meth head bio. Your early life. I used to be doing bowls of meth. This intro song always helps me brace myself to be battered by the waves of life in a new day. Oh man, tell me about it. Like, fucking, not about the song. I appreciate it. I am blessed. I am honored that my intro provides you with such joy and resilience for the day ahead. But fuck me, do I totally understand where you're coming from. I had such a good day Monday, and now I'm fucking spent. Sleep patterns off. Fucking, like, I got so pissed off at the female last night. She was having trouble sleeping the last while, like, so she's gotten onto these fucking, she goes onto, I think it's Spotify, and she puts one of these, like, sleep music things on, right? And, it's fine, like, it's not that bad, like, but, like, it put her out like that, and she fucking, I was lying there in the bed, and she had it on about 15 minutes. And it's pure chill. It was making me, like, you know, see patterns and stuff. I was like, yeah, I like this vibe. And just as I was about to drift off, all I hear is... And I'm like, oh, you fucking bitch. Like, for about the next 40 minutes, I was just lying there with that 1,000-yard stare at the ceiling. Just all I can hear is, you know, fucking... really nice, like, hand pan and, like, you know, chill stuff, like, do you know what I mean? It's like water gently dropping on fucking glass or something, like, just, like, tingling, like a really nice fucking chimes and shit, like, real relaxing stuff, and just permeated by my beautiful counterpart, just like a fucking asthmatic walrus lying beside me in the bed. Like, it was fucking brutal. It doesn't matter how much you love them, like, do you know what I mean? There's just those moments where, like, I fucking hate you right now. What was that? I can't remember where the first time I heard that. But there's, like, a term in Russian for, like, I love you, but I hate you in this moment. I really need to look that up. Like, namocnitsdie niche. Like, oh, God. Paint! Paint you! Paint me! What's funny is I've never painted me or any of you. I should do that. I said I'd do that ages ago, but, like, it was such a fucking pain in the arse to get Griff on the stream. It was like, oh, fuck this shit. You don't want to be, like, spending too much time trying to do something new. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't like forcing things. If something organically just, like, starts growing and shit, like, you know, it's much better. Especially when I'm trying to do loads of other shit in between painting goo. It's fucking symmetrical. It's taking me ages. These goddamn turtles are, like, haunting me at this stage. But people seem to like the fucking the blind fire turtle. I love it. I think the idea of a fucking turtle wearing a helmet that makes it blind but have amazing hearing, and then he's strapped with, like, this fucking, I don't know, how big did I make that thing? Like, if you're talking, like, ratio and size proportions, like, that cannon is easily, like, a 30 mil fucking, like, you know, explosive rounds, fucking, like, do. But, like, I thought it's just, I love the idea of that thing just, like, with its eyes closed, listening for, like, other turtles and shit on the battlefield, like, you know, and the bad guy. I have, like, I am genuinely really excited, even though it's taken me ages, and, like, I haven't necessarily made any progress really on it, but, like, I am sticking to my guns. I'm not gonna give away what the fuck, I hope I didn't already, and I'm not that retarded. I'm not gonna give away the bad guys that I have, the opposing team. that I have in mind for the tactical turtles. I genuinely think it'd be fucking brilliant to like start off with like a board game. Maybe that's why hexagons are like in my mind a lot lately, because I think like if we put the turtle models and like the bad guy models on like little hexagons, because you know the way the Warhammer stuff, they're just like sitting on circles. I think it'd be better to put them on hexagons, because then you could put them all on a hexagon grid rollout mat, and then like that would allow you to like have a fairly like, you know, like a systematic formulaic way of being like, all right, every turtle has 6 directions potentially to be attacked from or defend from. And this is what I like about this idea, right? If because the turtles' shells are invulnerable in this universe, that's the whole point of them being turtles, is like the 3 back facing, the 3 like south facing sides of the hexagon would cover the turtle, each turtle's shell, unless you're talking about the ones on all fours. They work in like, I was gonna like think of a different strategy for them, but it means that like when the enemy attacks from different angles, when you roll the dice, I'd have like cards that dictate, or like rules that dictate like deflection percentage, you know. So what's the chances the enemy's shot bounces off the turtle's shell depending on the angle, and the whole point would be to get a shot on the turtle's belly, or put the turtle on its back, making it vulnerable and stuff. Especially with the 4-legged ones, because they're like, you know, the shell covers them quite wholly, you know. So getting the big fuckers with the cannons on their back, and then delivering a killing strike, and then the enemies have like a totally different, you know, vulnerability behind them and shit. Like, and to be honest, I haven't actually worked that out quite yet. But like, it's in my mind, it's like the potential for it to be like a really good board game is there. But it's not like I've ever made a board game, even a game. Like, it's like making a game is not as easy as you think. Like, it is and it isn't. Like, when you start to get into the logistics of how the rules actually affect the gameplay, you know, it's very easy to get yourself into a corner of like, you know, certain things are OP, certain things make like the game unwinnable in certain, you know, like if this happens in this particular context, then like the player can't do anything and stuff. Like, but that's why I'd love to like get, like I said this before, I want like a design team. Like, do you know what I mean? I want like a few people that I can trust who aren't going to like steal my ideas and shit. You know, like, because you gotta watch out for that stuff. Like, you know, that's why I was only talking about that the other day. Like don't get me wrong, my thought process is what I said. It's like, if somebody's gonna steal it, that means that what you're making has inherent value because somebody thinks it's worth stealing. So you should just acknowledge the fact that you are able to make valuable shit. So instead of being like, oh, like, I don't want that to be stolen. If it gets stolen, it gets stolen, you know? And it's like, just make something new. Doesn't that prove how creative you are? Like, that's I think that's the stronger position to have. Like, but anyway, now I'm just rambling about turtles. This looks like a giant abominable samurai warrior. I dig it. Well, like, hopefully like, the proportions on the left arm are okay. I think they're good. Proportions on the traps on the chest, you can kind of see the pecs and the shoulder bulge, the superhero shoulders and stuff. Torso's good. Left leg's good. The right leg needs work. I think it needs to come down a bit further. I'll change the angle. And the right arm is like, hold my strong hand. Like, I need to change proportions and the angle on this. I think I need to like put the elbow down like here and have the forearm coming out here a bit, or so, like maybe going up a bit more, because like we're supposed to be putting the eraser, like the rail gun from Eraser. You've just been erased. We're supposed to be putting that there, and at this angle with that size, it looks completely off. It literally looks like, hold my strong hand. It's been so long since I watched a scary movie or something. Like, well, I was only recently playing Borderlands 3, and like the first boss you fight is a guy called Shiv, and he has like a tiny arm and a massive arm, you know, like. And when he came out, he's like, I'm gonna flay you alive or something at the start of the boss fight. And the first thing that came to my mind was like, oh look, hold my strong hand. It's like, that's one of those things that's like like funny on a primal level, like, do you know what I mean? Like, I love that shit. Indentured servitude monkey. My slave monkey, Myro. Oh, wait till you hear this. Right, the female was sitting beside me in the bed getting ready, and I was like catching up on Owen's stream, and he's talking about Milo and the affidavit that Milo put out, and she was like, Milo, like, who's Milo? Like, I was like, what you mean? Like, Milo Yiannopoulos, like, you know the British fella. Like, she was like, Owen has a Milo, and I was like, Owen doesn't have a Milo. She was like, I wouldn't have called the monkey Milo if I knew Owen had a Milo. I was like, he doesn't have a Milo. He's talking about Milo. You laugh at this, whatever the fucker's name is. What's that fucker's name? Milo Yiannopoulos, is it? Oh god, I thought it was so funny. I was like, he doesn't have a guy called Milo. Her reaction was hilarious. What was that? There's something else she said as well. Oh yeah, we were talking about painting you, like, and she was like you, it's very niche. The way she was being so sincere, she was like, what you're doing is very niche. Like, she looked at me like, you know, she cracks me up sometimes, where she's like, you know, just the way, like, the way she'll look at me, the body language and the tone. I'm like you think I don't know that? like she was hoping it wouldn't hurt my feelings. Like, what you're doing is very neat. It's like, no shit. Who the fuck is like painting live on the internet with fucking like disco tunes or synth rave shit, like loads of different tunes, and fucking painting things called Chidean, was a fucking Chidean spider fudge? Like, oh god, this shit cracks me up. Oh fuck, I need to be more organised and disciplined though. I'll have like 3 days in a row where I get everything done, and I fucking take pictures of everything. Oh, my phone is fucked. That's after reminding me. My phone's totally fucked. Things like swelling up and all, like, it's like it's like a scene at Alien. Like, the fucking thing is just like the screen is literally like popped out of the frame and all, like. And I was still using it for the last 2 days because, like, I have to, like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's what I take pictures with and stuff and all, like, and I can't use like I could, but it'd be incredibly awkward to use something like the laptop, and the webcam I have is like really low quality. But fuck it, the female has an old iPhone there that we're gonna try and we have to fish it out. We don't know where the thing is, so hopefully that'll be like, you know, I just start using that or whatever. But like, oh god, the stress right now of just being like, oh, now I have to deal with this. You fucking serious? I only have that phone like a year, if that. It's fucking serious pain in the hole, especially for somebody like me who has to like record everything and like take pictures and then, like, you know, be on your social media and stuff. Like, and I know you can do the social media on the laptop, but like in a lot of like in a lot of ways it's actually more awkward to do it on the laptop than to just like be on your phone while doing other stuff. You could just quickly be on your phone and be like, you know, upload to Instagram. Okay, that's uploading. That gives me a minute to do something else. Right, pick that back up. Right, fucking do TikTok now and do something else. Like, you know, it's handier, like, do you know what I mean? Instead of having to, like, the laptop is like on the desk and you have to keep going back to the laptop every 5 fucking minutes while doing everything else. Now it's fucking like, I fucking detest social media in lots of ways. I really do. Like, the whole thing of like it's funny, I'm only on Twitter a while and like I have like 127 followers, and when I went in and looked at it, it's like it's all just like OnlyFans bots. Like, what the fuck? Like, I went in the first 3 times in this, like, I'd say that like first week or 2 weeks that I was on Twitter, and I was like just getting rid of all these bots and all, because I like seeing who was actually following me as far as like real people. Which I know is probably like an autistic thing to do on social media these days. Everything's like, it's so bloated and saturated and full of bots. Like no mess. Every fucking time I upload a PEINTEINGU stream to Rumble, I get, the only comment I get is a comment from a completely, like, they're always a different one. It's a bot account. It's like a name and like 3 numbers, and it's like, oh my god, your stream is so creative and, like, you know, unique and all this stuff, and we can boost your views and blah blah. And I'm always just like, block, delete, block, delete. Like, it's a pain in the fucking ring when you're like trying to put content out there and the majority of the interaction you get is fake or it's genuinely trying to scam you. Like this year's been okay as far as scams go. Like, nobody's tried to fuck me over. Last year was a cunt. That dude who tried to fucking scam me out of 200 quid and asked me to paint like his son's dogs. Talk about trying to emotionally guilt trip a nigga. Do you know what I mean? I was like, oh, like, this chap wants me to pay his, like, fucking, his kids' pets. Like, this is cool. This is some cool shit. This is some wholesome stuff. Like, you know, 200 quid, nice. Like, do you know what I mean? I can knock them out in, like, a day. And then it turns out he's trying to fucking scam me. And I'm just like, oh, fuck you. Like, like, these people are lucky you don't get their hands on them in real life. Seriously, like, wankers. Roar meow. You should have said roar cow. It sounded like you said meow. Do I like a cat to you? Do I look like a cat to you, boy? What sounded like if I said meow? What the fuck? Super Truathon. Oh man, I caught up with Papa J last night. Like, I've spoken to the chap in ages. Just been like, he's been busy and I've been fucking busy. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, other than fucking PEINTEINGU and then my own stuff. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm not very like sociable. I'm just constantly inundated with like what I'm doing, which, you know, is a good thing. Like, it's great to be busy and focused on tasks and stuff like that. But it's also like, you don't want to fucking like forget to like, you know, interact with the people that you like and stuff. Like, I was like, fuck, I haven't spoken to Stuntman or Scouse in like 2 or 3 weeks or more or something. Like, and I know like lads don't really care about that shit. That's why I'm like that. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, like, I am one of those guys that we couldn't speak to each other for like 2 years, and then you're like, what's up, man? Or you send each other something like funny. You don't even talk. You know, lads are like that. You know. But I still think it's important to, like, you know, fucking remind people that you're around and stuff, like, you know, that you give a shit, like. But he told me, he was like, have you watched this MacGruber thing? And I was like, oh, I seen a thumbnail, but I didn't click on it. Like, what's the crack? And he was like, dude, like, you're gonna love it. It's hilarious. I watched the first 2 episodes with the female, and we were in stitches. It's really funny. It's like a bit obscene. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, but like don't get me wrong. Like, the sex scene isn't like, you don't see anything. Do you know what I mean? Like, everything's covered, and it's obviously comedic. You know. But there's like some undertones of like, you know, like he's like, what the fuck? He just kind of cooked himself in a weird way, didn't he? Like, he's just sitting there in the dark clapping, like, but it's like also profoundly hilarious, like, because the way they set it up is that he is just this like absolute retard. Like, the way he signs his name when he's getting out of prison, MacGruber. Like, it is legit really funny. And it was like, it was so funny that like when we watched 2 episodes and I looked at the time, I was like, oh fuck, it's late, like we should turn this off, like, you know. But you could tell the 2 of us were like, I want to watch another episode. The shit's hilarious. This shit's really good. If you haven't watched any of MacGruber, check it out. It's really funny. Are we back on the Austrian death machine kick today? Yeah, that's the plan. Yeah, every Thursday from now on until this thing is done, every Thursday is going to be Austrian death tribute day. And I'm gonna like constantly remind people that like I think Arnold Schwarzenegger is a retard. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want anyone thinking that I'm like doing a tribute to Arnie. No, fuck that cunt. Like, but like I can't lie, like, do you know what I mean? Like, I fucking love some of his movies, most of them anyway. Like, do you know, and it is funny. It's like because when we're talking about Will Smith, it's like, you know, well, I suppose it's the same. I could still go back and watch the old ones, and it doesn't fuck with me. It's weird, isn't it? Like, I wouldn't watch his new shit because you know what he's like now. But you watch the old stuff because like it wasn't like that back then, even though it probably was. Like, you know what I mean? It's fucked. Like, it's incredibly difficult to not be like in some way contradictory or hypocritical on like a real technical level these days. I catch myself doing that shit all the time where I'm like, but that is still watchable. Like, do you know what I mean? But like, I wouldn't watch the new stuff. Like, so why? Like, where's the? It's weird to me, like how everything is shifted in such a short space of time, seemingly. Like, you know, where like everybody starts like reacting to how obscene and dark and fucked up and corrupt everything is, but like the train just keeps rolling, and like the MacGruber thing, like, do you know what I mean? Like Papa was even saying it, it's like they don't make funny shit anymore, but this is like genuinely funny, and it is, like, do you know what I mean? And like I recently caught up on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and their new stuff is funny. Like it's not like, I don't think it's as funny as the old shit, but maybe that's just me as a fan of the series who's like watched the first 10 seasons like fucking 5 times or something. Like a lot of that happens a lot when, like, you kind of just prefer the old stuff, the fresh shit, because like you can only, like, South Park's on season what, 20 something now, nearly 30. I don't think something should go on that long. Things need to end, and then you need to start something new. Do you know what I mean? That's my opinion anyway. Shenanigans. What's the shenanigans? Hard boss crew. Screw your freedom. Yeah, I know. Like fucking. I really should do that T-shirt. With the blue GI fella. Screw your needles. Fucking with the big energy cannon thing. I think I still have the sketch there. I could totally blow that up and do like a fucking, put that on a T-shirt. I need to do more T-shirts. I make good merch, and I'm like, I don't think that's me being arrogant. Like, it's not like I'm saying my merch is the best merch. It's obviously not. But I make decent merch, with the tools that I have available to me. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, I don't like how limited like the whole fucking, what's it called, Teespring thing is. Like, but I don't have to gear myself, so you do what you got to do. Like, and I don't know if like, considering how the PEINTEINGU T-shirts thing went, if you haven't bought a PEINTEINGU T-shirt, do so now. If you don't own a PEINTEINGU T-shirt, you have no honor. Click the link in the description. Shout out to Printer Bear for making them, for manifesting them into reality. I wish I had more options, but like with the like, I don't know how the tactical turtle T-shirt's gonna turn out. Like, I know how I want to look, how I wanted to look in my head, and I think it'd be cool. Like, and like part of me is thinking of like, should I do a T-shirt of like each one on its own, like large, with like a bio on the back of like what it is and its abilities or stuff, and then do a T-shirt of all 6 of them. I'm not sure yet, like, but like I really like the idea of like having a set of things that like are my own little creations, because like I have Redhead sitting there, I have Gunduck sitting there, I have Rax sitting there, like I have like the Fantasy Kingdom fucking, the 4-element kingdom thing there. Like, I've loads of ideas that are just sitting there that like, that it would take hours. It would take hundreds of hours for me to like, flesh it out and make it an actual product that I could like sell to people, and like I can't afford to do that right now. Like, what I'm doing now is working and like getting better and shit. I just need to be more disciplined about it and like actually get more symmetrical paintings out. Like, people like the symmetrical shit. I like the symmetrical shit. That's very important. Do you know what I mean? With the whole like doing what you love and stuff, like you can feel it. I knew somebody was gonna buy that big orange and blue and black floral thing that I did, and lo and behold, that dude in France, your man Lee Stacks on Instagram, was like, how much? Like, I'll buy that. Like, that's awesome looking. And when I was painting it, I was like, yeah, this is good. This is good enough for someone to buy, like, And it's important, like, if you're doing anything similar to what I'm doing, like, if you're like making stuff yourself and then selling it and you're like putting yourself out there, it's such a fucking relief and a good feeling when someone is like, no, yeah, I'll buy that. That's awesome. And like, that's what, like, reassures you and validates you of like, yeah, I can actually do this. Fuck. Thank God. I didn't waste hundreds of hours over the past couple of years trying to do this shit. Like, oh, but anyway, rambling again. Let's get the tunes on. We played the first album when we set it up. So I'm gonna go to the second album, Double Brutal. Dubre Brutar. and I'll stick that on, and we will get painting. Gopnik techno renew. Like, man, seriously, Griff's chats make me laugh sometimes. Like, it's always just these like one-liners. They're fucking brilliant. That affidavit info Milo dropped on X yesterday was wild. Not to divert, just in the Milo way. No, yeah, you're not diverting. Like, fuck it. I didn't read the whole thing. I want to have a look at it and all, but yeah, what I heard was crazy. Like, you know, because it was actually the female pointed it out to me first. She was like, "Have you read this?" Like, I was like, "No." Like, what's the crack? And she was like, his dentist or something got him addicted to laughing gas. And like, my reaction was I started laughing. I was like, like, because like the first thing I thought was like, somebody else doesn't get you addicted to something. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know, like, you know, people are going to be like, well, what if you're a fucking female and you get kidnapped and you're being trafficked and they like force feed you heroin and all, and then you're going to be addicted. Like, yeah, I get it, but like, you still made choices that led to you being kidnapped and fucking then you ended up addicted to heroin. Like, I think like that. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I think of like the meta of like, what did you do to put yourself in that place so that that could happen? Do you know what I mean? Like, you're not going to get fucking kidnapped and raped if you, like, you're not in the places where people get kidnapped and raped. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's not like you go around the corner to the shop and somebody, like 6 lads bust out of a van in balaclavas and fucking kick the fucking shop door in, run in, grab you and fucking run out. Like, and everyone's just like, oh, trafficking again. Like, like, it doesn't happen. Like, do you know what I mean? It's always like a series of events that, like, you have to make decisions that lead you towards where demons and hell exists. Do you know what I mean? Like, hell, like, what was that song? Heaven is a place on earth. Like, so is hell. Like, heaven exists here. So does hell, in a metaphorical sense. There's absolutely mind-blowingly fantastical, beautiful things right here. You know, you don't need to fucking go to Mars. You don't even need to go to the moon. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's all here. But at the same time, like, the worst shit you could possibly imagine is also here. But it all just depends on what fucking, like, just stay out of the dirty corners of places. Like, it's obvious. You can feel the vibe of places. Do you know what I mean? It's obvious when you're in a place that, like, you shouldn't be in and, like, there's demons about and stuff like that. You can fucking feel it. Like, at least I can anyway. I'd say most people can. But, like, some people just, like, willingly ignorant or, like, so... like, there is obviously those people that are so, you know, influenced and encumbered by their own addictions and stuff that, like, they don't take in, they're not paying attention to the environments that they end up in. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're walking past people who are, like, slumped on the side of a sofa with a needle in their arm, like, do you know what I mean? Like, you should probably get out of that place, like, do you know? Yeah, and people scamming, etc. Yeah, the fucking oh yay, and people scamming, etc. Yeah, it's fucking... oh, there probably is a special place in hell for scammers, like, do you know what I mean? But what was the coldest place in hell? Was it guys who dealt in usury? I can't remember. Who's in Dante's Inferno? What's the cold place where, like, it's the bottom and it's like the worst sinners? I can't remember. Surely pedophiles are down there. Gotta be a special judgment for scammers. Yeah, because there's something really fucked up about, like, knowingly fucking someone over. Like, in whatever way you're doing it, like, even if you're not costing them money, like, you cost them something, like, you know, like, fucking someone over, conning someone, scamming someone, deceiving someone, like, do you know what I mean? Like, put it in its, like, most base alchemic form, like, do you know what I mean? Like, boil it down, like, it's fucking deception. Like, deception, lies, fuckery, like, I hate them. Like, I'm cool, I'm fine, like, I don't have any hate in my heart. Yes, you do! Stop, it's okay. It's like, I do struggle with that. I struggle with that, like, you know, that dualism of like I know full well I have a fucking like maybe is it me? Is it a demon like or fucking psycho a psychic manifestation of the parasites in my gut biome? I don't fucking know. If I was to put money on it, I think trauma maybe like gave me like a bit of a schizo personality or some shit like that. Like, you know, I have like a fucking built-in defense mechanism for things, and then like a like part of me is probably still in that like fucking survival mode thing in my brain somewhere. So I still have that part of me that gets like rageful and murderous and violent and all towards certain things. But I think I'm blessed in the sense that like I only get like that towards things that everybody agrees is like fundamentally fucked up and bad, you know? It's one of the reasons why I relate to Owen so much. Like, you know, like I've very similar early life of like but it was my mother instead of the father. Just being around deception and blatant lies and like not even sophisticated deception. That's kind of what fucked with me a lot as well. Like, hey Woo, welcome Woo. When it's blatant deception, you know, when it's more sophisticated deception, you have a tendency like when you figure it out, you're like, oh, you cute fucker, you. Like, do you remember that scene in Jurassic Park where it's like, clever girl? Like you almost give them kudos for being like, oh fuck, you got me there, like, do you know what I mean? But when it's blatant deception or blatant lies, because like you don't really get deceived like half the time because it's so blatant, you're just like, look, I know you're lying, like what the fuck, like it wears on your soul because you're just like, it feels like it does actually. The best way to describe it in my mind is it feels like invisible entities are like attached to you and they're like sucking you dry of your fucking life source. Like, it's weird. It's fucking weird. Like, if you've never played Bloodborne, play it, because like when you gain enough insight in that game, you start seeing stuff in the environment that didn't used to be there, but it's always been there, you just couldn't see it. And it's one of the most like really clued in representations of like, you know, the like everything is not as it seems, and like all this shit, it's, you know, plugging yourself in or out of the matrix and gaining like, you know, new perspective and like, you know, being aware of stuff and all. When you gain enough insight in the game Bloodborne, you start seeing these things around the fucking place, you're like, oh my god. Like, man, I think it is exactly like that. I think like just like you could put night vision or thermal or fucking whatever on, and you can see shit that you wouldn't usually be able to see because now you're seeing through a different lens. I think there's a lens that you could, you know, put on and you could start to see stuff that would fucking make you shit yourself, probably. Like mad shit, you know? Things just crawling on the side of buildings and like, you know, putting the, like, it'd be way more intense than that fucking They Live thing where he's just like looking at the billboards and they kind of change and you're like, well, that's a bit weird. And I'm talking like you put these things on and you're like, oh my god. Like, and you like immediately take them off. You know, like the ring in Lord of the Rings, like, do you know what I mean? You'd put this thing on and now they can see you. The fact that, because if you're aware of them, they're now aware of you and all, like, oh my god, it'd be fucking unnerving to fuck if one of the, like, if a towering, multi-eyed, abyssal, demonic tendril thing, like, looked at you. You couldn't even, like, how, it's got, like, dozens of eyes on it and they all lock on you at the same time and it starts moving towards you and you just be like, oh fuck, like what if once you become, like, you know, all those people who have like traumatic stories, like, you know, near death experiences and all this shit, like, what if once you start seeing that stuff you can't turn it off? Man, that's a terrifying prospect. Like, like, oh my god, only you're real. Yeah, for you. And like, that's it for the rest of it. Like, you know what I mean? They're real for you. That's it, nigga. Like, there's no going back. It's like the Matrix. Once you break someone out, you know, they'll either go mad or like they'll adjust. Screw your freedom. Nitrous is a hell of a drug. I can imagine laughing gas is pretty fucking intense. I don't think I've ever gotten the laughing gas. Have I ever been gassed? I can't remember. I don't think so. I think anytime I've gotten dental work done, they just like they just stick a needle in me going. I don't think I've ever been gassed. Um, and then like yeah, like when I went in for surgery on the hernia and all, they just like put this stuff in the IV and it's like count backwards from 10. You're like 10, 9. Like what the fuck? It's a mad feeling being put to sleep chemically. It's a crazy. I don't like it at all. I don't. I hate needles. I hate. I hate being penetrated. It's like that. I just find that hilarious when you say it out loud. You're like, I really don't like being penetrated. Like, do you know what I mean? Like at all. And it's like, no shit. Like, do you know what I mean? Isn't that like an instinctual, innate? Like, I don't want my like skin being like penetrated. Like, but then you fuck it. Like, I'm one of those dudes that used to like. I used to self harm real bad. Like, to the point where people used to like there's been a few people that looked at me and were like, dude, what the fuck? Like, I've spoken about it before on stream. Like, so it's like it's an like there you go, where it's an interesting like, you know, kind of hypocritical contradiction where like on the one hand I'm like it's because I did it to myself. That's probably what it is, isn't it? Like, you know, I was in control. I hate being like vulnerable and someone's like putting stuff in you. You're like, get the fuck away from it. Anytime I've had an IV in me, like I just can't relax. I can't relax. I'm like, get this fucking thing out of me, like, you know. But like I had no bother like getting a fucking blade out of a pencil sharpener and dicing myself up like a fucking Christmas turkey. Ugh, I'm a weird egg. The Lake of Cocytus, ninth circle. Yeah, but who's there? That's what I was asking. Is it? I think is it bankers? Is it? It's like bankers and pedophiles. Is it? I can't remember what like two. It's like 2 or 3 groups of people who are like in the coldest, most bottom place of hell in Dante's Inferno, and it was money lenders and stuff, wasn't it? My phone, I don't have my phone for like easy access phrasing, but I do have a laptop in front of me. Where's my internet? Yeah, I've heard about whippets and stuff. I've seen a lot of kids do them here where I used to live. There used to be lots of places in between the housing estates, like shortcuts that I'd take through the housing estates that like everybody would take because like they've been walked so much that people had actually carved a path. Instead of walking around all the estates to get to the fucking shops or whatever, you just cut through, like, you know. There'd be very specific spots along the route where you'd find just fucking loads of these fucking gas cylinder things just like lying on the ground and shit, and then empty baggies and stuff, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, man, when we used to go knacker drinking, we just like smoked and drank. What the fuck are these kids doing? They're like, you know, ooh, like, the fuck, man. I think it's hilarious that like I was in my 20s. This is how like quickly things are accelerating every generation. Is I was in my early 20s and I had those feelings and thoughts in my head of like, man, kids these days. like I'd literally just stopped being a kid physically anyway. I mean, look at me. I'm still a big kid. What am I looking for? Fuck you, Bing. Who the fuck uses Bing? Okay, what am I looking for? Was it the 9th circle of hell? Is it 9th circle? 9th circle of hell. For the innermost circle of hell, sinners who committed treason and betrayal are trapped in ice. Interesting. I thought it had something to do with moneylenders and shit, like. But I suppose technically wouldn't, like, scammers would kind of be, I don't know, would they be on the 8th floor? I find that stuff fascinating. Man, I'm really enjoying that fucking Investigating Babylon series. It's fucking so much gravy in that shit. Like you cannot deny how fucking eye-opening that shit is when you see that Zeus, Apollo, Jupiter, fucking Indra, Ra, like Egyptian gods Indian gods, Greek, Roman gods, all holding the same fucking tool, like, and it like does the same thing, like, you know, the fly, like, you know, like years ago, the fucking conspiracy theories was like, oh, ancient Sumeria, they had rockets and, you know, all this stuff and all, and this Indian text, and like, I still think it's hilarious that the Bhagavad Gita sounds like bag of vaginas, but like, for like, you know, anyone, like, that's what I don't like. I don't mean to insult anyone. I really don't. But on a this is just my personal opinion. I don't understand how anyone could, like, anyone who's like us, who's like aware of like the shit that we're aware of because we've like sought it out. You know, seek and you shall find, ask and you shall receive. All right. Well, I saw and I have found, and what, like, I have no concept or understanding of why anyone would adhere to any known religion now, because it's so clear that they're all like corrupt and fucked and, like, you know, diluted or like diverged from what they originally were. And like don't get me wrong, I totally get believing in God. I believe in God, you know, like God, the concept of a higher deity, like, do you know what I mean, which is the least, like, that was like the fucking, what's the term I'm looking for, that was like, you know, the lowest bar of entry into like Freemasonry and all. It's like you have to believe in a deity, you know, which I totally get, because if you don't believe in a power higher than yourself, you tend to be, you know, have that God complex thing of like, oh, I'm God, you know, fuck, like, there is nothing more powerful than me and I and us and we and all this shit, like technology or whatever, like, I'm in control of my fate. Yeah, okay. I totally am a believer in like the supernatural and the, like, the cosmos and the fucking grand clock and the seasons and all, like, totally vibing with that shit. But like, I just don't get how anyone at this stage could be like, I am a Catholic, I am a Christian, I am a this, I'm a that. It's just like, why? Like, it's all the same shit. Like, it's like, even before I was watching the Investigating Babylon series, like, I remember seeing shit like that when I was watching Discovery Channel years ago as a kid and all, being like, so they're all the same but different, and they all have the same gods but in different costumes with different names, and it's like, but the Christian, like, well, it's not just the biblical story of Babylon and it falling was like they were all one. And then God came in and went, boom, and then scattered them, and then they all spoke different languages. It all totally fucking, like, it all totally jives, totally makes sense. So, like, doesn't that tell you that, like, we're literally living in the remnants of, like, they just started again. Do you know what I mean? They just, like, you know, look, I know we nearly got all, like, genocided in a god flood, but, like, I am still fucking sacrificing kids to Apollo. I don't care what God says. Like, it's like this insane level of hubris to be like, to have the logic and the rationale to come to the conclusion of like, oh yeah, there's totally a grand creator and he lives above us in the sky and all this fucking shit, and be like, and then be like, how dare he be in charge? Like, what gives you the right? I built it all. Yeah, but, like, okay, so literally everyone who's doing the whole sun worship thing is worshipping the creation, not the creator. You're worshipping the bread, not the baker. You fucking retards. Like, and maybe in like 10 or 15 years, I'll, like, you know, have a revelation, be like, oh my god, I was so ignorant and arrogant and, like, I didn't know what I was talking about. Maybe, I don't know, but I don't think so. I think it's like, I think that's why I laugh at it, because I'm like, the true shit is funny, and what's true about it is like, it's all bullshit. Like, it's the same with everything. It's like, yes, there's truth in it, but like, they've literally used it in every which way they can to just repeat the Babylonian fucking, like, the whole fish head Dagon thing and all. Like, it's hilarious to me. It's fucking hilarious to me that, like, you still have all these, like, you know, you have the Christians and the Hindus and all this stuff, and like, it's just wet. Like, I don't, is there gonna be a point like where there's like a reverse Babylon?
Because think about it. Why does God have a problem with everyone being unified? Like, it's not the unification. Like, obviously, it's not the unification that's the problem. You know? It's the intent. That's what, like, Owen has a really good point with it. It's like, it's the behavior, it's the intent, it's the why, it's the motivation. And if, like, you're building an entire city and then a tower with the sole purpose of revenge against the thing that you acknowledge that there is something or someone, a singular being that created every known fucking thing in existence, and you have a problem with that. Like, that's wild to me. Like, do you know what I mean? That's like that to me isn't like an opinion. That's like straight up insanity. Do you know what I mean? That's like, that's not like, I kind of get with the whole, like, I kind of get the whole dogmatic Christian thing of like, we must purge the heretics, because like, the more I look at this and the more I understand, like, apparently, allegedly, where God is, like, God's thought process behind this shit. It's like, you know, he's there telling Babylon and all. It's like, your spells will do nothing. You know, you're fucking, like, you can do all the witchcraft you want. You can mess with all the shit. You can do all your little cheat code bullshit. I will erase it all in the blink of a fucking eye. Like, and like, that makes sense, because like, if it is true that this dude created everything, what, like, you know, what gives you the impression he can't just like completely delete stuff at a whim? Do you know what I mean? Like, and like, your strategy, your opinion is to like war against this being. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, the thing that is the reason you even have opinions in the first, like, the fact that you have a brain or willpower or any of it, allegedly, by your own admission, only exists because of this nigga. And you're gonna go try and go against, like, that is so fucking retarded. Like, it's like I said, it's like, it doesn't even strike as an opinion to me. It's like, no, that's like, your mind is broken. Reprobate mind. That totally makes sense now. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, your mind, like, there's no logos in that. There's no sense in that. Do you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? Like, that is fucking wild. How dare you be in charge? Are you mental? Like, man, it must be like, you would have to be an infinitely benevolent, merciful God to put up with that shit. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, oh my God, like, what the fuck? Like, I'm surprised there's only been a flood. Do you know what I mean? Like, if I was God, I would have fucking, well, I suppose he did, didn't he? Isn't there like a few stories where like rained down hellfire and shit? Like, man, that'd be, I said that in a few, like, a dozen streams ago or something, when I was talking about like, like, you know, if I was in charge, I'd be like going into countries and fucking kidnapping all the women and children and then just glassing the place. That's what and like, the whole story apparently is that there's some kind of rapture. Like, that makes sense to me. It's like, I'm gonna get all the good people out and I'm gonna fucking burn the rest of yous. Like, you know what I mean? But still, like, I still don't like the idea of, in the interim, it's like, oh, you know, what goes around comes around. It's not our place to judge. You know, God will sort them out and stuff. I don't jive with that. You know, you like, how long are you gonna wait? You know, how long are you gonna wait to be saved? How long are you gonna wait for God to intervene? How long like, do you know what I mean? I don't think that's the point. I think that's how you get Babylon. Oh, God will fix it. Meanwhile, God is like above all this, being like, a little help would be nice. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's fucked. It's so fucked to me. Like, oh God. Oh, fuck. Dick Fordu, welcome you. 1988, John Carpenter. Was that a John Carpenter movie? No way. That's a mad name, isn't it? John Carpenter. That's very like Abrahamic. It's very biblical. I thought that movie, or was it called Nemesis? Nefarious? I can't remember what it was called. The one where it's just like the dude interviewing the guy who's like infected with possessed by a demon. I thought that was a really cool take on a demon calling. He won't say Jesus Christ. He just says the Carpenter. I thought that was really cool. The way he's just like the Carpenter. You know, and every time he says it with such like, you know, that fucking chair making wanker. I thought that was brilliant. Like, really putting across it, like, motherfucker. Like, and like that makes total sense as well. It's like, you know, imagine how pissed you'd be if you were the demons and Satan, and all God had to do at one time in history was send one dude. like that is such a flex. Like that is the biggest flex ever. It's like hordes of demons, pestilence, plagues, a hierarchy of 7 demonic generals, 7, like, you know, Satan and his beautiful fucking, you know, it's just like taking over the place. There's fucking chimeras everywhere. There's like, they're fucking with the giants and lions and tigers and bears, oh my. And God just goes, oh, okay, and just sends in one dude. Like, just like one guy, like, and apparently all you have to do now for like the last 2,000 years is like anything demonic is like you just say Jesus Christ's name and they're like, ah, fuck. Like, that shit makes me laugh so much. Like, you can have like a straight up exorcist situation happen. Like, it never works like that in the movies. Do you know what I mean? When like the walls are like vibrating and the bitch is like fucking turning like a contortionist, vomiting all over the ceiling. You know, like, you know, it's so good, oh good, speaking Latin and all this shit. And then, like, they never just go, in the name of Jesus Christ, I compel you, demon, to leave, and it all stops. But apparently that's happened lots in real life. Or like, I had a near-death experience. You know, like Chris Gardner's talking about this shit. It was like, man, I had some spooky shit going on, and the second I said Jesus, gone. And like Marzinski said the same thing. It's like, oh, they don't like it when you mention Jesus. Like, like, I think that's hilarious. That's like, that has gotta be the most profound flex ever. It's like, I just have to send one guy. And he's not even gonna fight. He's gonna like heal people, and then he's gonna let you like torture him and nail him to a board. And, like, he's not even gonna fight it. Like, I'm gonna send the most hippie nigga in sandals you've ever heard of. He's just gonna make chairs. You know, like, he's just gonna be a seriously good dude. He's gonna like feed and heal people and all. Like, it's just this like Chad of this paragon of good. Like, it's just one dude. Like, it's perfect. Like, it is it's like the reverse of when you have like a clear glass of water and you drop ink into it and it just like permeates the whole glass. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like you've just corrupted the whole glass. Like, it's like the opposite. It's like if you had a whole glass that was black and like God just plop, just drops Jesus in, and then the whole glass goes clear again. And you're just like, shit, that's really effective. Like, you know? It's like Jesus Christ. It's like a Pokemon thing. It's like Jesus Christ, and then all of the demons and Satan on the other side of the screen, and like Jesus goes, oh, it's like God uses Jesus Christ. It's super effective. And like all of hell's health bar just goes do 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 do. Like, you would be, if you were the demons and Satan, you would be so pissed. You'd be like, that's not fair. Like, one guy, like, how the fuck did one guy kill all of it? Like, that makes a lot of sense. Oh, can you tell I'm like really into all the biblical shit lately? I find it fascinating and hilarious. The names are really cool. Like, the stories are awesome. It's so funny to me how like I'm growing up watching all of these Marvel movies and like, you know, not just Marvel, but like all of the like horror movies, like fucking space movies, like all of these different franchises, all these different one-hit wonders. And now I just like, oh, literally nothing new under the sun. It kind of like sometimes it actually kind of makes me a bit depressed because I'm like, does that mean human creativity doesn't exist at all? But no, it doesn't. Like, do you know what I mean? But I get a flash of that when I realize how much reiteration and copying and dilution of the original has been done in the last like how many thousands of years. Just the same shit over and over and over and over and over again. They're fucking obsessed. They're like gammas. It's crazy. Was it called Nefarious, was it? I thought there was another one called Nefarious. That was like part of that whole series of I can't fucking remember now. There's like there was those series of movies where the wife and the husband are exorcists. They're like demonologists. And then there was a few offshoots of the series. I think it began with C. I'm not sure. One of the movies, I think it was like an offshoot, and it was about one of the dolls that was in their room. It was called like Isabel or something. What was that fucking called? I can't remember. If you travel to current location of Sodom, there are still sulfur balls that can be lit on fire. Where's that? Where is the original location of Sodom? What was it? What was it called originally? The fucking Shinar? No, Shinar. The plain of Shinar or something was where Babylon was. Well, you're not talking about Babylon, are you? Fucking like Sodom and Gomorrah was a different place, wasn't it? See, this is like I try to say it all the time. I am like ignorant of so much shit. I'm just watching videos and like listening to stuff and like soaking it all in while I'm like drawing and shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like I don't sit down with a Bible and like research all this stuff. Like, do you know what I mean? Like I couldn't. There's no like I'm already getting not obsessed, but like, you know, really like absorbed into it. Like, you know, like I'm like next video. I'm just like, I'm like a sponge. You know when you're a kid and you just like I'm like that again the last few years with the whole biblical shit. I'm just like, tell me all of it. Tell me all the stories. Tell me the Hindu shit. Tell me the pagan shit. Tell me the fuck. I'm just like, give it to me. Gods. Like, because I'm starting to see the fucking, you know, I'd love to paint like a grand tapestry, even just for myself, to like really put things into context as best as we could chronologically. It's like, as far as we know, the first fucking thing that happened that was recorded is X, and then this, all the way up until now. And like, I'd love to do a deep dive into like like, you know, not early history, like recent history, like from like the time period of before World War One, and then all through to like 1950s Americana. Is like, so much shit happened. Do you know what I mean? Like the whole Nazi fucking Gnosticism shit and the cult woogity boogity fucking Black Sun energy stuff. Like, that's fascinating. How they like went to Antarctica and built, like, the fact that Hitler was just like really obsessed with the occult and all this stuff, like the stuff with the Mercury engines and all, and like some say that like they like heated up the Mercury to use it in a particular way, and then some say that they just like spun it using electromagnetics. Like it's so, it does boggle the mind personally how like your average person couldn't, like, you know, hear some of this shit and be like, hold on, what? And like just be fascinated. Do you know what I mean? Because like, that's like, this stuff fascinates me. Like, do you know what I mean? Because like, I think like when I was like in my late teens, there was a part of me that was a bit disheartened with reality, because like repeatedly, like, you know, I think like, you know, as an early child, the whole Santa Claus thing, you're like, okay, so some things are just lies. And then later on, like, you know, my parents got divorced and there was a lot of lying going on, like, you know, so like, and then I looked at, like, you know, things like the government and the greater realm, and like, I was very disheartened by like, wow, reality is really like lukewarm and basic bitch compared to like what we talk about and like where we came from and like allegedly history this and all this. So this is just a myth. And like you would watch things like Lord of the Rings or Dragon Ball Z, or like, you know, you would watch things that were like quite, you know, high fantasy, and they would speak to your soul on a primal level where you're like, why do I think I can do this shit? But like we've like forgotten or something. Like, do you know what I mean? It's so weird. I get like tingles down my spine when I try to move things with my mind or try to like focus my chi and create an energy ball. Like obviously nothing happens, but like there's this feeling, and it gets stronger the more you interact with it. Like, do you know? And maybe that's just like your connection to the one true frequency, the God frequency. Maybe that's what I'm feeling, is like your, what Christopher Gardner would call like your jurisdiction with your creator. Like, you know, you're actually like flowing and shit. Like maybe it's just that. I don't know. But like there's definitely for me, an undeniable truth to like all this. Like we can do way more shit than what we've been told or what we've been led to believe. Like whatever about all the truth or realm stuff and all the like they're lying to us, government, black ops, aliens, like all that crap. Like, do you know what I mean? Like just us as human beings and what we're actually capable of doing, like the potential of the human body, the potential of the human mind, how far you can push things, like what we're actually capable of doing and stuff. Like, you know, like I don't see a reason, which I know a lot of people would think, you're fucking off the wall. Like, I don't care. Like, to me, like, people, like, if somebody who would think that, like, I'm genuinely crazy, I'm like, you're stupid. Because, like, it makes total sense that, like, even certain, you know, mainstream science turns around and is like, oh, yeah, the human body can, like, the fact that you can get a static charge, like, you know, off things and stuff like that, it's like your body does have the capacity to interact with electromagnetic frequencies and stuff. Like, you know, like we know that like all of these like technologies that we surround ourselves with do affect the body on some level. Like there's no arguing that there isn't an effect, you know. There's all sorts of arguing over, like, is it giving us cancer or all this shit? Like, I don't know, but it's like definitely some sort of like interaction. There's definitely an interplay. And if you have things like placebos where someone's mind can convince them that that the sugar pill they're taking is killing their cancer, that I don't see a reason why you couldn't manipulate the stuff that you're aware of. Like no different from fucking like, you know, being able to do this, you know? Like there's people out there that can't do this. I remember being a kid and like you'd go up to other kids and be like, "Can you do that?" And they'd be like, "Oh, that's so weird. Like what's wrong with your hands?" Like it's like all it is like your willpower. Like you're just like, you're making your hand do that. Like, like don't get me wrong, there's like a nervous mind-body connection and like and all that shit. But like, I seriously don't see a difference. Could you imagine if I just did that and something just came to my hand on stream? Like how freaked out you'd all be. Like, don't get me wrong, I'd probably be freaked on a level too. But if anything, I'd start giggling like a schoolgirl. I'd be like, "Home, haha, pay for painting you." Like, you're not gonna see that anywhere else. Like, I don't know. I totally think we can do it. Like, you ever see that movie, fucking The Men Who Stare at Goats and all? Like I totally think that you can be trained to like awaken that part of you, you know. And the reason why nobody can do it in the public sphere is because, like, man, like with great power comes a great responsibility. Could you imagine if you could fucking just manipulate air pressure and fucking like I look at the shit that Tesla was on, you know? There's energy just like in the air around you. Do you imagine if you could throw a fucking fireball if you tried hard enough? Like, do you know what I mean? Do you imagine the amount of niggas that would try to rob a bank barehanded? like this is what I always get to the conclusion of, is like, it makes total sense why we can't, like, I think we can do that stuff, but we've been like somebody has put like a collar around our neck and being like, we can never let that shit happen again, because a lot of these biblical stories are probably very historically accurate, and whole swaths of the realm were destroyed by one lunatic. Do you know what I mean? Like, that doesn't happen anymore. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, I think that's how it works. Like, I think we have like latent hidden power, and the reason we're not allowed to fuck with it anymore is like we have a tendency to like be very self-destructive as a species. Like, I think it all makes perfect sense. Oh god. Yeah, I've seen that documentary, Stabberoo, pretty incredible gravy. Which one? If you travel to current location of Sodom, there are still sulfur balls. What's the name of the documentary? Where is it? Oh yeah, the plagues of Egypt. Yeah, I was pissed the heck off. Like, yeah, I mean, like, you must be pretty fucking annoyed to like kill the firstborn of everyone in the fucking town, like, or what was it, like, everyone who didn't put the blood of the lamb on their door, your firstborn would be taken. It's fucking dark shit. Like, that's in The Prince of Egypt. That's a child's movie. That's some dark stuff, like, do you know what I mean? Like, you gotta put this fucking lamb's blood, this, like, goat's blood or whatever on your fucking door. Otherwise, when the mist comes tonight, like, Daddy's not gonna be able to stop the demons from taking you. Like, that's some next level realism, like, do you know what I mean? Oh, you Oh, hold on. I keep going to fucking go on me phone. Fuck's sake. You put it in the Telegram? Where's Telegram? Oh, sulfur balls of Sodom and Gomorrah. The Bible describes burning sulfur and fire raining down from the sky, which permanently destroyed the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. Genesis 19:24. Yeah, like, so Sodom and Gomorrah are two different places that were both destroyed. And they are also independent of Babylon. And Babylon was also destroyed. So, like, am I right? Let me know if I'm wrong. Fucking, so, like, how many? You know? Like, was there more? How many places fell to such degenerative, reprobate behavior that, like, God was going around being like, no, no, fucking plague for you, fucking plague. Like, some frogs over there, raining fireballs over there, fucking flood this place, fucking taking all your kids. Like, that's what, like, in a lot of places, like, in a lot of the stories, like, God sounds like a fucking hardcore motherfucker. Like, you know, don't do this. Why? 'Cause I will rain hellfire down upon you. Like, but then you look at what they're doing, and it's like, it makes sense. Like, if you're fucking sacrificing kids and shit, like, right, I need to cleanse all this fuzziness out of my chi. Just been rambling for an hour and 20 minutes. Let's fucking paint something.
Has your cat ever felt
I don't have a cat. I don't have a cat. So stop talking to me. You feeble mortar.
perfect fit Total 5 formula to
That is a very pretty pussy though.
you want
I love cats. Cats are awesome. Oh, for fuck's sake.
Has your cat ever felt this epic?
Shut the fuck up. Some of them I'm just going to silence, especially when they're just repeats, like, how dare you. Fucking ads. Who's this? Is that Prager you? Is that faggot? He looks familiar. He looks like that faggot. I am a war machine. The Discoveries doc series was amazing, Stabberoo. We still have that one on VHS. Hardcore.
How are
Got it
you?
in
I was
VHS.
thinking about Double Brutal and realized we need to get started writing songs now.
Now!
We have a classroom so we can practice.
Wait. Hello? Hello, who is this? You're not the real Arnold. I am the real Arnold.
The second one's way better.
You're my clone, running around trying to be me.
Of course I'm the real Arnold, you idiot. I'm at Tim's house, standing right next to him when he answered the phone. I know you. I heard you being Mr. Funny Guy. You did jokes and all that about, the gummy bear candy cornea and working out and your song titles. Well, it's not funny anymore.
Any clone would say, prove it. You sound like an old man.
Of course I sound older than you, you idiot. I'm 62 years old and totally angry. You sound like me when I was 18. I see Tim standing right over there. You know, that girly man with his long hair and his colorful tattoos, right? Exactly.
There's only room for one. Then I'm the real Arnold.
Oh, stop it.
I'm the clown.
I will crush you.
Why nothing?
I will burn your eyes out with my stogie, you idiot.
Quiet, boy.
Come, hear me. Hear me now.
I burn your eyes out with my stogie, you idiot!
Listen to me. I'm gonna ask you one time nicely.
I need your clothes, your boots, your motorcycle.
When I get the angle on that arm, fairly like perfect to be honest, and it currently isn't. I have so many tubs of color here.
Oh, glorious.
Great way to open the album. hilarious shit. Fucking love these albums, they're so funny.
Over the last year, we've invested heavily.
Over the last year, I've become more of a than I have before. Babylon existed before Sodom. Ah. So Sodom and Gomorrah were after Babylon. And Babylon was after the flood, was it? I can't remember. Because he didn't flood Babylon, did he? Like, that's one of the reasons I'm so fascinated with all this shit, is like, I want to know the chronological order. Just for myself, in my mind, like. You said we were going to do, like, part Conan, part Terminator. What else can we do? What else is there? He's been Terminator, he's been Conan. What's another, like, big one he did? Like a franchise of or something. Like an iconic character. Fucking Mr. Freeze. Yeah, Babylon was post-flood. So, like, think about that. He floods the place, then Babylon, destroys Babylon, scatters them, then Sodom and Gomorrah happen. It's like, God keeps just going like, will you please stop? Like, they won't stop. Like, that's what it seems like anyway. Like, they've no fucking interest in stopping. I think I'm gonna try and foreshorten this so it looks like he's, you know, holding it in front of him, kind of. Might be able to off-angle it a little bit.
Hey Arnold, check out this riff. Hold on, stop it. That's enough. All right, now listen. No, shut up. Stop it. Stop it. What are you doing? Cut it out. Listen, I have to tell you, I'm a little upset that you've been the one writing all these songs. I mean, you're kind of a girly man, and things need to be more brutal. Now it's my turn. But if I'm in charge of this orchestra, I want to change a few things. Hey, you, over there, listen, I don't want a snare drum, I want a rifle. And replace that China symbol with bombs. oh, and while you're at it, I need a sample of somebody's head being smashed in. I love it. Yeah, totally.
yeah, totally.
Okay, yeah. All right, here we go.
Oh, I love it.
Give me a break. That's enough. All right, now listen.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, I agree, Griff. It's about your, like, your personal relationship to that frequency, I think. It's simple. If it jiggles, it's fat.
Okay, here we go. You know the words.
Oh yeah, Stabber, I tried the P90X thing there this morning, the stretch one. It's good shit. It's very good shit. It's actually stuff that like I've done a lot myself. That whole those yoga stances, like downward facing dog and cat and fucking the rising dog and stuff like that. No, great for your hips, great for your shoulders. Some of the twisting stretches and stuff like. It's been a while since I did stuff like that, and it's funny. Like I'm actually much more flexible than I think I am. Like, my years of kickboxing must have, like, you know, given me a foundation. But yeah, it's good shit. Like you get a sweat going. I should do a full hour qigong thing and record it and see what you think. Cause like, man, I think an hour of the qigong that I do is even more intense. Cause it's isometrics. Like you're trying to hold it for like 15 minutes piece. And it doesn't sound like a lot till you're actually doing it and you're like 15 minutes into a form. Like, you don't go all the way down into horse stance, but it's not far off it, like, you know. And like, the one that really fucks with me is because like I've like rounded shoulders a bit. Like there's a stance where you just hold like this for 15 minutes while slightly bent, you know, like, and fucking shoulders, man. After a while, like I do be like they even say when you start to like get the shake, you start to get the wobbles and stuff, that like you're supposed to like try and follow that and like breathe into it and like find where the shake is like originating from. And like that's how I've like slowly improved my sciatica over the years. Is like, you know, I've like woken up my left glute, you know, through the qigong and shit. Like don't get me wrong, there's obviously other ways to do it, but that works for me personally, because like you don't need any equipment and you can do it anywhere, because you only need enough space to like go a little bit further than your shoulders. You know, you just need space to squat essentially, like. But the only thing I don't like about it is how long it can take, because it's isometrics and just breathing. Because like an hour doesn't sound like a lot, but like depending on what you're doing, it can be hard to stick into your schedule to be like, all right, I'm gonna work out for an hour. But like, you need to do it. You need to do it. So important. You'll live so much longer and so much better if you stay fit. It's just like an obvious fact. Like, I don't understand, like, you know, underweight people, skinny people, like kind of like, you know, meager, flabby people who are just like slight build, whatever. You know, I get it, you know, but like fat people, if you're fat, you're a disgrace. Like, I think you can do the same thing with obesity and alcoholism and fucking
You
gay
know, Timmy,
gay
that last
behavior
song
and
was
stuff
pretty
like that.
good,
Like,
but your voice sounds terrible. Yeah, I mean, you
it's
sound
like
Cookie
you're fat.
Monster
You eat
or
too
Danny
much. Do you know?
Moose
Oh, I'm an
or
alcoholic. Yeah, you drink too much. Like, do you know? It's the whole idea of the phrase "too much." It's too much.
Nothing is more brutal than. You want to hear that again? Huh? Hey, you want to hear that again? Of course. Plus, you know, whenever I forget the lyrics, I just go like that. Yeah, trust me, it's going to catch on. Anyway, listen. If you're going to sound like Cookie Monster, then we might as well write a song about cookies.
It's so brutal.
Okay, the legs are okay now. They, you know, same size, different angles. Alright, look. This arm is pissing me off. I don't know what to do with it yet. Trying to, like, get the right angle on it that I can put the rifle on it. Like, put it like this. And like the gun would be like here. Yeah, like the rifle looks tiny. It's gonna be hard to try and get the angle on this. Just leave that for a while and I'll do the sword and shit, like background stuff. If I keep just trying to fuck with this, it'll just annoy me. That's why I love working on a canvas. You gotta fucking be really rough with it, like. Be really messy. Loads of layers, take layers off. Give it a rub, give it a scratch, give it a tickle. Part of me is thinking it would be, like, hilarious to just do, like, one, like, mad, like, fucked up arm or something, like. Was he ever a mutant in anything? Including Nineveh, he always sent a prophet to give them a chance to repent before bringing judgment upon them. There you go. There's another insane flex from God. Is like, before I wipe you out, please listen. Like, look, lads, I only promise to kill all of yous overnight if yous don't stop. Like, man, like a P90 would look so small in Arnie's hands. Do you remember that? Do you remember that time period where like everybody in the Stargate series was using P90s? I always thought that was hilarious. I was like, why is everyone using? Is P90 the new gun? Is it? It's no longer MP5s. It's now the P90. Anybody else notice that shit where like they literally try to push certain guns in TV shows and movies and all that? Makes sense. It's like product placement, like Coke and stuff, like, you know. Try out the new M4. Keep your family safe. It's funny because majority of the corroborating history is from when the Israelites were disobedient and in captivity enslaved. Yeah. It's almost like it's every Stein, Singelberg, Timowitz. That's hilarious. Every Stein, Singelberg, Timowitz. Oh my god, it's brilliant. I figured you have known most of the poses. Yeah, it's shit I've done before, alright, yeah. But like the fucking do you know what? Do you know what one really did actually kind of do a number on my right hip, because I hadn't done something like that in a long time? Was the one where like you're sitting, and then you put like one knee up and one knee down on the ground, and then you like bring the opposing arm and elbow over and like twist your torso and shit. On my left side, I was actually fine. I was like totally mobile. And then when I went on my right side, my right hip and like all up the right side of me back was just like, like, some parts of me are like, I'm like really flexible in some ways, and then in other ways I'm not flexible at all. Like my lumbar, where my lumbar region like fucking meets my pelvis, like my lower back is like fucking nearly fused, man. Like it's like really bad. Like it's not nearly fused because I can feel it moving, but like sometimes it's just so locked in place from the tension of the muscles in that area where, like, you know, especially when I'm doing the cat thing where like you flex, you know, like you're sticking your arse out and then curling it in and sticking it out again, like, and like I'll feel my vertebrae go like pop pop pop, pop pop pop. Like it's fucking mad. Like yeah, it's good shit, man. If you're fat, have you considered Canadian healthcare? Have you considered Canadian healthcare? Oh, that's so dark. It's mad what's going on. Like, makes me sad to see 40-year-old men with huge beer guts. No excuse for that. Gotta treat your body like a temple. Yeah, like it kind of, some of it is genetic. Like especially with dudes with kind of a bit of a belly on them. Like you guys, you have guys who are like Olympic level gymnasts and like they're kind of flabby, you know. But like, it's just because like they have like a shall we say, like a surplus, a healthy surplus of body fat, like, you know. But like these dudes are still like able to, like, you know, easily lift 100 kilos over their head and fucking do like muscle ups and stuff and all. Like if you weigh like 250 pounds and you're doing like on a fucking gymnast pole, you're doing them swings and then you stop and then do a muscle up and then fucking flip off the thing and land, and you're like 6'2", 250 pounds, like those big, like a lot of rugby lads. There's a lot of rugby lads who are like fucking peak physical condition and they're like heavy and really flexible and insanely muscular, but like they're not like ripped. Do you know what I mean? They have that just like mass to them. Like that's actually what I would prefer. I would prefer to be like that. I'd prefer to have a bit of a gut on me. Like, I think it's funny when people, like, I'll take my top off and they're like, dude, you're like jacked, and I'm like, no, I'm fucking starving. Like, I'm dehydrated, I'm underweight, and like I inadvertently intermittently fast. Do you know what I mean? Because it's just my schedule and shit. Like I have to remember to eat sometimes. It's weird. I definitely have fucking parasites or something. Need to do a cleanse. You mean assisted death? So the rifle is more of a carbine. Almost looks like a P90. MP5 still goes hard though. I love the MP5, especially in games like Far Cry 5, where you can get the MP5K, the one with the, like, you know, the little one with that doesn't have a stock on it, and you get the little MP5K and put a silencer on it, and maybe a red dot. Like, I like just extended mags and silencer, and like you're like running through the forest and you see two lads guarding up an outpost and you just like and it's so satisfying. Like the noise out of that thing, like just rapid fire silenced, you know, low caliber, It's fucking so satisfying. Like, some silenced weapons are just as satisfying as loud weapons, like, do you know what I mean? Like, you hear something like a fucking realistic M1 Garand go off, or a realistic, like 4570 go off, you're like, oh yeah, I feel the punch and hear the punch in that, like, especially with the 4570, you get the lever action on it and all that, like, it's like similar to a shotgun, you know? But then, equally, you have guns like that. Like, I love listening to a silenced submachine gun, or a silenced a silenced semi-automatic rifle, something like a fucking like a long barrel version of an M4. You know, still fairly like small caliber, like it's only a 5.56, but like you get that like just that like that thump, you know, and like you can't really. It's low enough that like you hear the ding on the metal target louder than you would if you're going bang bang, you know, you'll still hear the ding typically, but it's like almost like, depending on how far the target is, it's almost in unison. You have to have it pretty far away to be going like bang bang and then hear the ding ding. But with the silencers, like, you know, you can have shit up close and you can go like, and like you'll hear the ding ding, like it's fucking, there's something so audibly, like, almost musical about guns. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, when you have like a battlefield and you've got like artillery going off and like LMGs, like when you have a proper gunfight happening and you have the contrast between, you know, some guy with a rifle being like, you know, bang 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 bang, and then some other guy downrange is like like, you know, it's like you hear them all together and shit, and then there's like RPGs where you just hear that ting, and like it's just a click and a whoosh, you know, like, and then this fucking deafening explosion and there's rubble going everywhere. Like, man, RPGs are no joke. RPGs and bazookas are fucking terrifying. Like, no wonder when you see like, RPG and like everyone just fucking hits the deck, because it's like, it may as well be a tank showing up. The fucking hole one of them things can put in a wall, like, and if you're behind it, like, Jesus. After you've fired a P90, everything else seems infantile. In the full auto class of weapons, I love how it fired and operated. Beautiful gun. Gotta try it at a gun range in Vegas. That's nice. I'd love to be able to try a P90 in real life. Like, I the highest caliber I fired in real life, I think it was like a fucking, what was it, a 30-06 or something. Which, like, they're kind of big. Like, you know, you're starting to get big then. Like, it wasn't firing like fucking, like a 7.62 or anything. What's bigger, actually? It like, don't get me wrong, there was a punch to it, but like, you know, it wasn't like a big one, you know? Well, kinda. Like, it was a World War II, what was it? It was a Mauser. Like, there was a fair kick off it, like. And I fucking nailed that thing at, like, what was it, 200 yards? Just iron sight, just sitting on a fucking sandbag. Just pow, like, real, so satisfying. I hit the same target with a 22 bolt action. Quite satisfied with that. Had like a little rifle scope on it. No, it was a bolt action 22 sniper rifle with a clip in it. Beautiful little thing. And like, I think I used that after the Mauser. So like the Mauser, obviously I didn't need to drop it much at all, if at all. Like, I just like point and shoot with that thing. But with the 22 at the same distance, I had to drop it like by about a foot. So when I shot at the thing first, the guy that was with me, he was like, yeah, you're like a foot short. So I just went, okay, and I just, like, instinctively, and I, like, swear to God, from just the years of playing video games, I was just like, okay, so about there then. And I just let another one go, and he was like, oh, right in the middle. I was just like, yeah, awesome, because I couldn't really see shit, like, you know. Like, I could see the target, but, like, when I shot, I couldn't really, like, at that distance, like even, like, 200 yards isn't even that far, like, you know. But 200 yards with a 22, like, is decent, like, you know. After seeing all this mini drone warfare, everything else doesn't seem so terrifying anymore. Yeah, I mean, the fucking fact that someone can just, like, fly a swarm of drones into a location and, like, they're all just, like, programmed to, you know, suicide bomb or whatever, or, like, you can just strap explosives to those things. Like, that's what's terrifying. You know, like, the first thing that a lot of people thought of was, like, oh, they're going to put guns on drones. It's like, no, man, you just use the drone like a flying bomb. Because, like, they're not that expensive to make, you know? Like, if you want a big high-tech drone that's going to fly around the city and have built-in AI and it's got a camera and a stun gun and a rifle and it's like a police drone, then yeah, that thing's going to be big and loud and fucking there's only going to be a few of them. But, like, you can make a drone that's lightweight, not that loud, really maneuverable, and, like, what? Like, you can how heavy is a stick of dynamite? You know? Mad shit. Arctic. Yeah, man, I literally, like, dropped it on the center of it. Like, it was really satisfying. Like that's when I was like, I think I was watching the movie Shooter, and when he gets the lads with the 22 rifle, they're in the shed, and he's on the boat, and he's like 200 yards away or something, like, and somebody says, like, 200 yards with a 22? How did he even kill them? Like, do you know what I mean? And I was like, I can do that! Like, I've done that shit. I've literally dropped a 22 round onto a target. But, like, it's the concept is easy. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, I used to do archery, you know? So, like I'm a good shot, you know? I've always prided myself on, like I have a decent throwing arm. But, like, you put a rifle in my hands, like, man, I'm very dangerous. Like, because, like, the first time I ever actually went shooting, the guy that was with me was like, Jesus Christ. Like, because there is a reality to, like, the whole bleed effect from Assassin's Creed, whereas, like, if you do something virtually enough times, when you pick up the real thing, depending on how accurate the virtual experience was, like, it's not that different. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I knew where the bolt was, the safety, and fucking, like, do you know, like, when I picked up the gun, I was like, oh yeah, and, like, I felt like I knew what to do with it, like, which is a bit, like, terrifying. Like, that, like, you could have kids out there who are just like, oh, I know how to use this TMP. It's a bit fucked up, alright, like, but it's also fascinating how, like, you know, because, like, they've done stuff like that where they train soldiers, like, legitimate soldiers, in VR for, like, weeks, and then they go out and, like, it works, you know? It fucking works. Don't get me wrong, the fucking the simulation or the virtual experience does need to have enough of an element of realism to it for it to work, for it to have that kind of muscle memory in training the mind effect. But you'd be surprised, like, it doesn't actually need to be that realistic. I'm trying to get a hair out of the fucking canvas here, it's pissing me off. It doesn't need to be that realistic. It just needs to have some fundamental properties of realism, you know? Like any game that puts ballistic fall off on their guns, you know? Where you actually need to drop the bullet. You need to raise the barrel and drop the bullet on the target, depending on the caliber, depending on the distance, so on and so forth. Like, you know, you ever played something like Sniper Elite and slap it on a hard mode, and you have to account for distance and wind and shit, you know? You're, like, looking at the flags and, like, waiting for it to drop and then fire. Or if it's not going to drop, like, if it's in high wind, you're just, like, you know, waiting for it to be steady, you know, waiting for the wind to be blowing whatever direction at the same pace for at least, like, 3 seconds, you know, to give you that window of, like, okay, if I fire it now, the wind's going to carry it that much, you know. I love long-range sniping. There's a game called Sniper Ghost Warrior 2. It's pretty decent in terms of, like, you know, long-range sniping and stuff like that. Like, and it is like you can snipe at, like, 2,000 meters in that game or something, like, and, like, you can see that, like, you're like, boom, and the because of the way they adjust the scope, you can see the bullet leave, and it's, like, arcing up and then dropping down, and then hits and all, like, and especially with like when you're doing it with like a 50 or something, like, and you're like boom, and the thing just like whack, and a dude's arm comes off, and you're just like, Jesus Christ, it's insane, very satisfying. Who wants to sign up for that nonsense? No honor in that. Yeah, well, like, there's not. I don't think. Is there honor in sniping? So, you know, I love sniping, but like, I don't think that's an honorable way to kill. Like, you know, the dude has no idea that you have a crosshairs on the back of his head, and then you just end him. Like, that's the reality of a sniper. Like, that's why snipers are terrifying on the battlefield, because you just get deleted from like fucking 800 meters away. Like, I don't think there's any honor in that, but I love doing it. Like, you know, in a non-realistic, non-lethal setting. And like, realistically, like, if you were going to defend a location, yeah, you'd want to be able to see your enemy from a fucking mile off, and that gives you the opportunity to just send rounds down range, and they're dead before they even fucking get halfway, you know? I mean, there are, like, the whole concept of honor is like an interesting one, because like I've said multiple times in the stream, there's people out there who they don't they don't behave as if honor is even a thing, you know, which is, yeah, it's fucked up and dark, but like, it's just the way shit is, like, you know. And if you're gonna survive in an environment where you have people like that walking around, people who don't believe in honor, don't believe in a fair fight, is it really, like, is it the moral or rational, intelligent thing to do to try and uphold honorable standards? Like, you know, it's more than likely just going to get you and everybody you love killed, you know. But my honor, yeah, well, you're all dead now. Is that honorable? Is all of you being dead now worth it, you know? That's why you have, like, fucking, look at the Japanese, like, they're supposed to be like, you know, oh, so honorable, but like, they developed forms of warfare where, like, you literally would sneak into somebody's gaff at night and slit their throat. Do you know what I mean? Like, assassination, all that. Like, every culture that I'm aware of, anyway, every culture has its open warfare. It's like, we shall face each other on battlefield and, like, you know, trade our skills. But then they also have the subterfuge and the infiltration and the assassination shit and all, like, you know. And it's like, it's a necessity, because, like, the first time somebody does a shank in the back in the dark, then everybody starts using it, because, like, you kind of have no choice, you know. It's like, all right, well, if you don't reciprocate on that kind of when the rules of engagement change, trying to adhere to honor a lot of the times is going to get everybody killed, which sucks. But, like, is Sniper Elite the same as Sniper Ghost Warrior? No, Sniper Elite is what I would describe as an action adventure, you know, kind of like, Sniper Elite is fun, engaging, slightly realistic. It's not very realistic at all if you're playing on easy or normal or whatever. It can get fairly realistic if you, like, you know, increase the bullet physics and increase the difficulty and all that stuff and all, like. But it's Sniper Elite is very similar to, like, Metal Gear Solid. You know, you can go in loud, you can go in quiet, you can sneak around, you can fuck with the AI, you can lay traps, all this jazz. You can do a lot of that in Sniper Ghost Warrior. Sniper Ghost Warrior, though, is, like, much more attempting at being realistic. Like, you'll snipe guys at 2,000 meters, like I was saying, and, like, it's much more realistic. Sniper Elite, they're on 5 now. Sniper Elite 5 is the most recent one, and it's much more, like, entertaining in the aspect of, like, they have the whole cinematic kill camera kind of thing where, like, you know, you line up a shot and it's very entertaining. Like, I've played Sniper Elite for hours, but they're two totally different perspectives of sniping. Do you know what I mean? Like, Sniper Ghost Warrior is like cool and realistic, and like more of an attempt at a slight mil sim, because like real guns that are in the real world with real world attachments and real weapons and stuff and all. Like, now that's not to say that the weapons in Sniper Elite aren't real, but like the maps tend to be smaller, and like you're not going to be shooting over those distances, and some of the bullet physics aren't that realistic, and it's more about the like, oh, look how, like, because like it's kind of like playing Mortal Kombat in a way, like, because like you'll shoot a Nazi you get a headshot on a Nazi from a particular angle, and it goes in one temple and out the other, and both of his eyeballs explode out of his head, and some of his teeth shatter out of his jaw, and you're like, oh my god, it's so visceral, like, do you know what I mean? And it's like satisfying and funny. There's a comedic element to it and stuff. So like, one's basically just more serious than the other one. Also in Sniper Elite, it's mainly in third person. That's why it's more similar to like Metal Gear Solid, whereas Sniper Ghost Warrior is like all first person. Like, if you really like sniping and sneaking, both will appeal to you, and then beyond that, it's just personal preference. Was speaking about drone operators, snipers have always existed. Yeah, like, don't get me wrong, like, the fucking drone shit is next level dishonorable. But that's what that's kind of what I'm saying, is like, snipers have, since guns were, well, yeah, before guns even, you'd have like long range, like, you'd have dudes who were like really good with a bow who could like pin you at like a fair distance. But I've said that before on the stream. It's like, fucking, so what's the standard? Where do we draw the line? Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, I think where honorable battle kind of has its where it stops is like the second you introduce ranged weapons, unless it's like, we all have bows, you all have bows and swords or whatever, and we meet up at this battlefield and like we take each other on. I mean, I suppose that's fair. It's just gonna suck if it's just gonna suck if you catch an arrow. Like, do you know what I mean? It's gonna be like, oh, I'm dead now, and like there was no fight in that. Now you could argue that, like, well, you should have taken better cover or something. Like, it's just, when you get into the numbers game of like, there's 150 of them and 150 of us, and like they have shields and swords and axes and bows, and we have the same. It's like, sure, it's fair, but it's like, it's also kind of random, because it's like, the second the clash happens, or even before, and they like set off a volley of arrows like before the clash, like, where's the honor in like you guys firing off a volley of arrows and it, like, just so happens to hit two of the lads in the neck or the eye, or so, like, or even like the leg in the femur area, and he like bleeds out in a few minutes. Like, there's not really any honor in that, in my personal opinion. Like, I think if you're gonna do, like, I like the idea of like picking a champion. Remember the thing they did in Troy? That was the reason. Like, it's like, pick a champion. Okay, Achilles. Like, I kind of like that idea. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I kind of like the idea of like, why do we all have to die? Why don't we just like our best fighter against your best fighter, and we see who wins? Now, I get it. That's like a kind of a gambling everybody's fate on the actions of one man. But like, there is a reality to being like, look, we don't know how this is going to pan out if we actually go to war. So to avoid all that, why don't we attempt to do something where we both agree upon an honorable discourse? Do you know what I mean? Like, an honorable solution to this situation. You want my kingdom, I don't want to give my kingdom up, so how are we going to play this out? We could go to war, but then all of, like, how many, even if I win and beat you, like, is my city going to survive if I lose that many people? Like, It's mad, like, you know, being in charge, being the king, like, making decisions like that, like, fucking, like, the fate of an entire kingdom is in your fucking hands, like, and that's what I mean. It's like, is it the moral thing to do in certain situations? Like, you're the king and you're going to decide the fate of your kingdom, and it's like, are you going to adhere to honor in a situation where they could just, like, sneak in the middle of the night and start butchering people? Like, well, at least I did the honorable thing, but sire, everybody's dead now. Yes, but I did the honorable thing. Like, it's fucked. Like, a sniper is pretty badass. Yeah, like, you remember that fucking was it that Finnish lad was going around with just iron sights so he wouldn't show a glint, and he could spot the shine in, like, all the opposing snipers' scopes, and that's what allowed him to, like, you know, zero in on the fuckers. Mad shit. Counter sniping is very fun in most games. You know, you're like, especially the games where there's like, if you're playing something like Halo 2, the bullet travels instantaneously, which actually makes the sniping quite difficult in certain, because it's all about timing. But like, then you get other games where the bullet actually has a travel time and an arc to it. You know, certain games like Battlefield and stuff. So like, you'll have two snipers on opposite ends of the map. You know, if they're behind a building or a mountain ridge or something, like, and they're like it's basically like using bows and arrows again, where they're like lobbing bullets at each other and hoping not to like run into one. Like, it's very entertaining. Yeah, Sniper Elite is really different. If you like, 1 is like its own thing completely, and then 2, 3, 4, and 5 are essentially the same game, but they get better every time. Better graphics, smoother mechanics, more mechanics. 4, pretty fucking good. 3, I didn't play that much. 2, played the fuck out of. And 5 looks like really good. 5 actually gives you 4 and 5 give you the option to actually not snipe. They give you the option to go around with like silenced pistols and use like fucking, you know, traps and decoys, and it's very Far Cry-esque. Sniper Ghost Warrior 2 is like good. It's like decent. Or sorry, Sniper Ghost Warrior is like good, decent. Sniper Ghost Warrior 2 is like legit cool and like very fun. All the Sniper Ghost Warriors before that were like trash. Absolutely trash. There was I think, what are the new ones called? Is it just Sniper Ghost Warrior? I can't remember. Because there was the franchise has been going on the same amount of time nearly as Sniper Elite. They were like trying to compete in that realm as far as like really entertaining sniper games. And Sniper Ghost Warrior took a lot longer to get their shit together. The first couple of their games in the franchise were fucking dog shit. But the last 2 installations, Sniper Ghost Warrior 1 and 2, are actually like pretty fucking cool, and the second one's like really cool. Sniper Elite though, they've all been great. They've all been great for their own way, you know, their own reasons. Like, 1 is a totally different beast, you know, and it's got like PS1 graphics and shit. It's very nostalgic. And then the second you hit 2 is where they brought in the whole X-ray thing. So in 1, you would just get a slow motion bullet cam. It's kind of like the old Max Payne's. You just see the bullet in slow motion going towards the guy, and then it would hit him, and you'd get an entry wound and an exit wound. And it's quite visceral, it's quite realistic for its time, like, you know. But 2, they brought in the X-ray shit, where like it follows the bullet all epically with like cinematic camera angles and cool sound effects, and then when it hits the guy, it slows down even more, and it shows you an X-ray view of it, like going through the muscle tissue, going through the bones. Fucking, you can get testicle shots, which is like hilarious when you're counter sniping a guy and he's like, you know, crouched, and like he's like one knee up and one knee down, and like you get him like his balls are just like hanging right there, and you just clip him. It's very satisfying. It's very satisfying, especially because they slow it down enough that like the round tends to hit the first nut and then the next. Like it doesn't move fast enough that it just like hits the balls. You know, it's always like there's the first nut and there's the second nut. Like it's hilarious. It's the same with the eyes. Depending on the entry angle, you could just take the jaw. But if you get high enough in the jaw, the like force from the bullet, you know, will take the bottom jaw, but then you'll see the like shockwave, it'll like rupture the eyeballs and stuff. They go into pretty like heavy detail, like, but it's like comical. Do you know what I mean? It's not like, oh my god. Like there's some moments in Sniper Ghost Warrior 2 where it's actually like, oh shit, because like I sniped a guy and he like fell, he took the hit and fell very realistically, and then I sniped him again while he was on the ground to like. I have this like autistic thing with like confirming kills. I do the same thing in Hitman sometimes, where I'll drop a guy. You get the thing on the reticle and all where it goes red. It's like that nigga's dead. I'll put another 2 in him when he's on the ground. And like, it's just, to me it's funny. Like you're like bang bang bang, and he hit the ground and he's dead, and you still walk past him and go bang bang and put another 2 in the side of his head or something like. But I dropped a round on a guy and he fell, and then I dropped another round on him, and his fucking head came clean off while he was on the ground, like, and I was like, oh snap, like his head just exploded, like, and it's like it's cool in that one that you can do. I think you can do it in Sniper Elite as well though, but it's like much more difficult. You can like maim guys, because that's a legit sniper tactic. You can maim dudes. And they'll be like, ah! And then other lads will come over to help, and you can, you know, get them as well. Like, so it's cool that they throw that shit in, you know, legit sniper tactics and stuff. Like, I'm gonna try and fucking get the positioning on this arm, so it's just done, because it's fucking bugging me, like. I've always had difficulty with like certain angles, you know, are just like much harder to make it look just right. Because if I put the arm like that, I can then put the gun, I can put the rifle at this angle coming forward, and then he's got the handle here, so you'll have the handle there, triggers on here, the gun is still going back past his arm and then out here a bit. I might be fucking myself, because like that might be like a really hard angle to do. It's not that bad, it's not that harsh. It looks alright. Might go with that. I'm just gonna leave it there as a placeholder. The fucking rail gun from Eraser is like hilarious looking. It's so early 2000s. Like, how do you make this look sci-fi as fuck? It's so funny. I like the way they plug into a battery unit though. I thought that was cool. Just do some fucking random, give some texture to this pile of rubble that he's on. The swords set up well though. I think that's a good size for the sword. Man, I think it's gonna be hilarious when we fucking when I'll do half of his head as Conan and the other half as Terminator. I think that'll look hilarious. But anyway, I'm gonna leave it there. Over 2 hours. Oh god. I hope you all have enjoyed today's episode. Like, part of me is glad that I did a bit of talking and didn't just, because like I know it's going to be a bit annoying depending on how long this takes if I play all 4 albums like 4 times. But we'll see. I mean, it might not. It's pretty good music, like. I think that's why the toe is arse obsessed. He has to stare at them all day. That's hilarious. Yeah, the White Death, the Finnish lad, Simo Haya. Was he the one that eventually got shot in the face and survived? I think he eventually took a round to the face and fucking and survived it. Because one of the photos of him is like his head is like all fucked up. Like, bro he was only 5'3", that little tiny Finnish dude. He was 96 when he died. A short king who lived large. Man, could you imagine how embarrassing it would have been to be sniped at a rifle scope distance by a 5'3" Finnish dude with no scope? That's fucking embarrassing. God bless me. Oh, fuck. Excuse me. Okay, right. Enough rambling. I arrived there, my beloved Japanites. If you're not paying for painting goo, you have no honor. You're probably a fag. Oh, fuck. I'm knackered. I'll be back. What day is tomorrow? Friday. Right, we're back in Japan tomorrow. We are back in a Homerand of Nipponu tomorrow. So I'll see you then. In the meantime, be good, true, and beautiful, and smash that like button. Share it around, do all that jazz. Spread painting goo like a buttery phenomenon. And I'll see you later. Sayonara, my beloved Japanites, and all you other foreign dogu.